No, actually, there's so many parallel sessions that
Yeah, some of them
some
are
sessions are just running for information.
So maybe I'll share my narrative from where I come from. So Bhutan, a tiny Himalayan country, has remained isolated until last 50 years and now is a proud member of a global community of nations. It is only a decade Bhutan embraced the journey of democracy in pursuit of our national goal, cross-national happiness. Considering the nascent democracy, my experience and the narrative might not be relevant to some of you all here. Anyways, I will share my observations and experiences that I went through, but it does not represent any institution. It's my personal opinion. So, in last 10 years, democracy has impacted positively for steadfast growth of my country's economy and the social development as well. Just in next 5 years, we are waiting to graduate from least developed country, and thanks to the wise leadership and the guidance of His Majesty for crafting the national goal to orient our every action towards better, brighter and happier Bhutan. His Majesty, 4th King of Bhutan, abdicated his throne and imposed the democracy to its people, and that's how we have come to this end, taking the journey of democratic nation, and we are now more responsible, more active citizen and laid back. Let me quote His Majesty's note on importance of young people. I quote, "I have always believed that the nation's future is mirrored in the quality of her youth, and that it is the government's sacred duty to provide a good education and conducive environment for young people to be strong, capable leader for the future of our nation." I unquote. So in this light, the future of nation or the future of world lies in the hands of young people and our aspiration. But ironically, young people are associated with apathy, unemployment, substance abuse and miscreants. So I feel we are failing to see the positive force of young people, their passion, their energy and their drive. 18% of our population in Bhutan are made of young people, which is more than the international average of young people, 16%. Young people can and they are playing active role in democracy for the greater advancement of our society in Bhutan. Political representation of this segment of young people are important to overcome the extreme disparity in terms of access to economic, technological and socio-cultural resources for them. So in my country, our second Prime Minister, Tashut Singh Topge, was 10 years younger than the first Prime Minister, and incumbent Prime Minister Dr. Lote Singh, the third Prime Minister, is 4 years younger than the second Prime Minister. And almost half of our parliamentarians are younger than 40 years. And we have 15 members out of 67 elected members who are below 35 years. And I think we are good at producing young parliamentarians. So we have youngest parliamentarian who is 25 years and youngest minister who is 32 years old. Therefore, I believe we have a good number of elected members representing the voice of youth in parliament. In Bhutan, the growing number of young entrepreneurs are beginning to shape the Bhutan's economic landscape. From primary sector to service industry, young people's entrepreneurial drive are gaining momentum. So young people's engagement in productive economic activities is important. Furthermore, the increasing number of community-based youth organizations are playing a significant role as democracy is taking its root in Bhutan. More than 14 groups of young people exist working on various focus areas such as SRHR, corruption, gender rights, volunteerism, advocacy, and etc. So these groups are also beginning to play their part in building participatory democracy in Bhutan. Young people have an innate sense of duty and service to their respective communities. However, it is unrealistic to expect young people to suddenly become responsible without prior exposure to skills and knowledge of their responsibilities. Therefore, young people need to be involved in meaningful activities, decision-making processes and projects along with the adults as early as possible. As we all prepare ourselves for next industrial revolution, institutions, agencies should take young people as an equal partner and not just work for the young people but also work with the young people for change. Young people at all levels of society must be actively engaged in order for them to be informed, capable leader and an active citizenry that are interested and committed to the health of their government. Thank you.
Should I go ahead and bow you guys?
Yeah, please. Most welcome.
That was very nice. Hi, so I was thinking just because we are a small group, let's introduce ourselves, maybe begin with you.
I'm Suji, I'm a lawyer by profession.
Okay.
I had a session yesterday.
Oh, fantastic, Suji.
So I'm Kunal. I'm a quiz master by profession. I make quizzes and games for different audiences.
Good to know. Now I'm nervous. So we know Mr. Dorji, and you are with the. And you?
I'm Pallavi Parekh. I had companies the safer workplaces for their genders.
Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. So my name is Kota Leliman. Just to briefly introduce myself, I'm an author and researcher, and I have worked on. I write primarily about rural and urban distress. That's my area of specialization, and area of sustainable livelihood, skilling, unemployment. That's my general focus areas. Apart from, of course, electoral politics, democracy, whether that works to actually represent, the youth and various sections of the society. To absolutely agree with Chedru Dorji, totally, I think the youth are where, democracy should focus, and let's look at how Bhutan does, because I'm sure that Bhutan would be actually, as we were discussing, learn a lot from what all we have done right and what, more importantly, what we have done wrong. So 3 parts generally about my talk. If you have any questions or you want me to elaborate in any part, I'd love to. So first, I'd like to talk about the numbers a little. 900 million people are voting, starting on 11th for the next 40 days, 900 people voters, out of which 15 million are below 19 years of age. They're going to vote for the first time ever. And that's a considerable number. In some cases, that's more than, in some constituencies, it's going to actually be more than 20%, which means they are going to be the decisive people. And as we all know, India is a very young country. More than 30%, I think, are less than 29 years of age. So
We are going to be the youngest country next year.
yes, and also remain younger. That's another interesting thing when
Yes.
you compare to
Everybody
China.
is aging.
Yes, and so we're also going to remain younger for a longer period of time. Thank you. But that's where we are at. So not to talk about problem, but that's definitely the first issue. The issue is what does the youth want? I think that's the quintessential issue of all times, right? I mean, countries have gone to revolutions because they couldn't figure out what the youth wanted. So what does the youth want? And this is something which democratic governments just can't take lightly, because as I said, in India they are going to be the decisive vote. One of the first things which they want is to be out of poverty, which has been so resilient to democracies, especially in our country and all across the world. I think democracies have failed conclusively in trying to do something about poverty, and that's something which we need to really ponder about it probably a more elaborate session. The second thing which everybody agrees across the world, also in India, is that unemployment. Government has done something about it. That's where I want to come to the second part of my talk, which is about the solutions, which is, we know all about Skill India. You might have also heard Mr. Darji. So that's something which is an initiative which basically was, the plan was to train, skill 400 million people by 2020. So it's a work in progress. The unemployment figures this year show that it is up by 7.1%, which is a 45-year-old record. So obviously the Skill India is still just matching these numbers. And in case of rural women, it's 13% unemployment. So it's like huge challenges. So what needs to be done? That's where my expertise or my research has been that what should we do? I mean, the idea of identifying these things is not just to blame the governments or identify policy deficits, but also what can we do about it? Because, for instance, like education, 15%, from the age of 5 to 15, which is actually the age of education for any student. 60% dropouts in rural areas. Now that can be changed through community mobilization, awareness, advocacy. Similarly, a very high degree of illiteracy among girls or a high degree of dropout among girls. One report in 2018, the Indian friends would know about the ASER report, which is 2018, it says that 1 out of every 8 children cannot read basic texts. Children who have been through all classes, I mean, I'm talking about 10 to 12. So we are looking at something which can be probably changed with community mobilization. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. The second is rural and urban distress due to poverty, due to migration. 30% of all our population lives in urban areas. And about half of our urban population now is made up of migrants. So we are looking at a huge migrant population in our urban areas, out of which about 70% of them are women. And mostly women migrants work in unskilled areas, unskilled jobs. So an absolute urgent need to address that. So that's where the livelihoods come in. How do we train them to do this? These are some of the more immediate challenges I wanted to talk about. If we need to have a discussion, we can, or maybe later on. The only conclusion I'd like to draw is that the identification of problems is not a way of confrontation with the government or the policy. It's a way of identifying what can be done and what kind of intervention should be done. And anybody who has looked at the Indian governance knows that none of it can be achieved just by the governments, however democratic they can be. So my hope is that we make it meaningful for the youth and come together to find coordinated solutions.